I start by saying that when the European institutions gave me the mandate to write this report, I immediately asked Jacques Delors was still alive, suggestions on how to run this exercise, because Jacques Delors was the founder of the single market. And I'm very pleased to tell you that, because Jacques Delors is the name of your building. You are in the building, in the Jacques Delors building, and I was very happy to see that some weeks ago there was a big ceremony at the Committee of the Regions for that. I had from him 3 suggestions, and I start from that because these 3 suggestions were and are for me decisive for the way in which I decided to run this exercise. First suggestion was to say the single market was a success because we decided to have the cohesion policy at the same time. We launched the cohesion policy, the structural funds, in the same moment of the single market. And so his message to say, do not separate single market and cohesion policy. Do not separate single market, structural funds, fight against inequalities is for me one of the most important messages. Second suggestion was to say, do not close yourself in a Berlaymont bureau to write the report. Go everywhere in Europe. Meet the people, because the single market means the people. And that was the reason why I decided to have this title for the report that is a little bit unusual for the European standards. Usually in Europe we are boring by definition, and so we use as title of all the activities that we have very boring titles. And instead of writing the report and saying report on the future of the single market, I prefer to use this suggestion from Jacques Delors and to say much more than a market, people, the people. And the third suggestion, I think it is really a suggestion that suits here. Because the third suggestion was to say, do not limit yourself when you go around in the 27 countries, do not limit yourself in the national capitals. Go everywhere, in the provinces, in the regions, because there you will understand what is happening, what is going well, what is going less well. This is why the exercise was a bottom-up exercise, and I have to thank you all, because the Committee of the Region was, since the beginning, protagonist of this exercise. I received a lot of suggestions. I thank you all. I met many of you during this period, both in Brussels, in the regions, and also in some of the events that the European institutions and the Committee of the Region organized. Competitiveness is the center of this legislature and has to be the center of the relaunch of the European Union. Competitiveness means security today, and security is not just weapons. Security is a broader term. And I wanted to use the term security in my report as a broader fil rouge. Security means being energy independent. Security means being in a connectivity mood. Security means fight against the climate change. Security means resilience. Security means being able to overcome the bureaucracy that sometimes creates so many problems to our companies and our enterprises. This is why in the report the idea to work for the integration of the 3 main subjects that are today not integrated at European level, energy, financial services and telecom, was exactly the big push to try to scale, and to scale in a way in which we, in my report, I never pushed for gigantism. It is not something that, for me, is the right recipe. What I stressed a lot is the topic of scale. the need to scale, because when the single market was created, we were, in Europe, the member states were big countries in the world. Today we are all small countries, because the world has totally changed. And the big changes at the world level are part of the reflection of my report. One, this need of scale is the only way to be competitive with the rest of the world is to be competitive at the European level. And I think what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C. is giving up a great wake-up call on that. And at the same time, the other big point is what you, Madam President, you referred on the fifth freedom. The fact that the single market was created not only in a time in which the European countries were all big countries in the world, and today we are not big countries. Europe has a big dimension at world level, but the member states, we are all small countries today. But the key point was the fact that the four freedoms were not enough for the economy of the future. Because in the four freedoms, goods, services, capitals and persons, we see the economy of the tangible, not the economy of the intangible. And this topic on innovation, research is absolutely fundamental. And that was the other key issue, and this is the other key issue of the report. You mentioned the freedom to stay. I spent 1 minute on that, on the 3 final minutes, because I think the freedom to stay has to be one of the flagships of these 5 years of this European legislature. Why I say that? For the very simple reason that today the brain drain, the problems that we are having in the different regions with inequalities, the fact that too many times the European Union is perceived by our people as a good toolbox for those who are cosmopolitan, who travel, who speak many languages, who are able to work in another country. Many times the European Union is not perceived by those who are not cosmopolitan, don't want to speak more languages, don't want to work in another country, not as a toolbox, a decisive toolbox. This is time, I think, to complete the single market exactly with this idea. The idea that the freedom to stay is a freedom that we have to guarantee, with services of public interest, with the capacity to avoid brain drain, to give people choice. And the report is full of some provocations and some ideas on that. I can tell you that some of them were part of the discussions we had together. Let me conclude in the last minute by saying that I can't address here this assembly without making any reference to what is happening at world level in this period. I strongly believe that the European Union has to react. I strongly believe the European Union has to react united. But I want to use my last minute giving you a message coming also from my job, from my profession as someone working with students. The US, for the last 100 years, was the country most attractive for people coming from abroad. The message from the US was, come here, exploit your talent, your dream will be our dream, and we will grow together. That was the reason of the success of the US. I think it is time today to know that the message that from the President of the US is coming is the message, don't come here. We don't want you. I think we have to know that we, the Europeans, we can be the land of hope, the land of opportunities, the land of talents. And if we are able to use our opportunities, our single market, to make dreams possible and to share these dreams, I think that can be for us a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's time for Europe to drain the United States and invite all the scientists and brains to come and work with us for people.